Hey guys, what is up? It's your girl, Grace Tori, and I am back with a whole new podcast episode. Today, we are going to be reading Reddit stories and judging if someone is overreacting or not. Of course, as per usual, all of these will have updates, so no need to worry about that. There's some sort of conclusion. We can go to bed knowing how these end. Before I jump in, though, if you haven't already, I would really appreciate it if you took a look at the link down below for the petition on change.org. It is all about improving animal laws in the state of Kentucky in regards to domestic animals. Go ahead and take a look to get the full grasp of what exactly we are trying to do. It would mean the absolute world to me. It would definitely mean the absolute world to pets in the state of Kentucky or your pet in general. I am going to try and push things at the federal level after we get this done in Kentucky. But like I said, it would mean the world to me. Animal laws are horrible here. They're so bad. And I would just really appreciate it. It is the most important thing I will ever ask you to do. With that being said, though, let's go ahead and jump on into these Am I Overreacting stories. I'm Grace Story, and you're listening to That Girl the Podcast. Grab a beverage of choice and settle in, because the new episode is starting now. Am I overreacting for refusing to let my husband name our daughter after his best friend? The original post is from August 4th, 2026. I, 29 female, gave birth to our daughter 3 days ago, and somehow we're still arguing about her name. I'm writing this while she's asleep because I can't sleep anyway, and I honestly don't know if I'm overreacting anymore. My husband, 31 male, has wanted to name her Claire for basically my entire pregnancy. He told me it was the name of one of his closest friends who died a few years before we met. I said no almost immediately. Not because I dislike the name, I actually think it's pretty, but because I wasn't comfortable naming our first child after somebody I'd never met or even heard of until I got pregnant. I figured he'd be disappointed, we'd throw around a bunch of other names, and eventually we'd find one we both liked. That never happened. Look who came to say hi! Hi, Bodie! He was running around and thought he'd just hop right through and say hello on his way to go cause some issues. Do some crazy things. Be an absolute menace to society. Right? He is very similar to Bourbon in that he causes a lot of problems. So, yeah, this is Bodie. Say hi. Hi, guys. Let's get back to the story. Every few weeks, he'd bring Claire up again, sometimes while we were already talking about names, and sometimes completely out of nowhere. By the end of my pregnancy, I was honestly tired of having the same conversation over and over. The thing that's bothering me now isn't even the name. We've been together for over 5 years, married for 2, and somehow I'd never heard this woman's name until I was pregnant. I bet his parents, his brothers, his college friends, people he's known forever, and nobody has ever mentioned a Claire. That's really interesting. Like, this is hard, and I'm trying to reserve my full opinion until the end, but that is really interesting that no one's brought it up. I even asked one of his college friends at our baby shower because I thought maybe I'd somehow forgotten hearing about her. And he just looked confused and said he didn't know who I was talking about. Oh? Then, after our daughter was born, while we were still filling out the paperwork, my husband said one last time if I'd reconsider. I said no, and that's when he told me he'd always imagined naming his daughter after her. I asked why he'd never told me that before, and he just shrugged and said he didn't think it mattered. We've argued about it twice since we got home. He keeps saying I'm making this into something it isn't, but I just don't understand how somebody can matter enough that you picture naming your future daughter after them, yet somehow they never come up in 5 years together. Why do you make that face? If you're watching and Bodhi makes a crazy face, he just does that. He is perfectly fine. He just makes the craziest faces when I'm holding him, and I don't know why. He's just goofy. But this is really interesting. Like, I don't know how I feel about this. He didn't mention that he wanted to name it after someone important to him until you were filling out paperwork. So for 9 months, he was just saying, I really like Claire. I really like Claire. I like that name. And was he ever going to tell you? Like, that's interesting. It seems kind of sneaky to me, but we're gonna keep reading. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. My mom thinks I should let him have the name because it's obviously meant something to him for a long time. My sister thinks that's exactly why I shouldn't. Maybe I'm just exhausted because I barely slept since I gave birth, but I'm so tired of feeling like I'm missing part of the story. It's gotten to the point where I'm thinking about calling his mom and asking who Claire was because I don't know what else to do. It feels completely out of line, but so does finding out about somebody this important while I'm filling out our daughter's birth certificate. Would I be overreacting if I called her? I don't think you'd be overreacting at all. I think that you're honestly underreacting. But maybe that's just me. Like, this is your mother-in-law. If you have a close relationship with her, I would call her and be like, "Hey, this is what my husband is saying, and I want to hear someone's point of view who isn't like directly involved. Who is Claire?" Um, and I don't know, because maybe that could cause problems with your husband. But I would talk to him first, and if he's not like forthcoming, I don't know. I have a lot of opinions. It just feels very sneaky, but at the same time, if she is someone really important to him that he lost, I can see his side and him not wanting to compromise or like give it up. But it's just weird that he's not being super, super forthcoming, yet he wants you to name your daughter after this person. Like, if I were in their shoes and I had lost someone really close to me and I wanted to name my child after them, and we were married, one, it would have come up before we even got married, because that's like a non-negotiable. Two, I feel like I would try and give them as much information as possible as to why this is important to me. And they're like your partner, so you shouldn't be hiding it, you know? Like, you shouldn't be lying to them or like just leaving out information if that's your life partner. But let's read the top comments. Not overreacting, ask his mother about Claire. Not overreacting, naming a child is two yeses, one no. And honestly, I want answers too. Before calling his mom, ask him directly how they met, when she died, and why none of his longtime friends seem to know her. The shrugging will bother me more than the name. Commenter 3. Mer. This is how a child gets unknowingly by one parent named after the one who got away for the other parent. That's what I'm thinking. There is an update from 2 days later, so let's see. I wasn't expecting the update 2 days later, but a lot happened really fast. First, thanks to everyone who commented. A bunch of you told me to talk to my mother-in-law because she'd probably know the answer. I went back and forth on it for a while because it felt weird to go around my husband like that, but eventually I did call her. She asked if I wanted to meet for coffee the next morning, so I did. I honestly thought I was going to leave feeling embarrassed. I figured she'd tell me Claire really was just a close friend, and I'd realize I'd let myself get carried away because I'm exhausted and emotional and just had a baby. The first thing she asked me was what my husband had already told me about Claire. That's not a good sign, bestie. Ooh, buckle up. I said that she'd been his best friend and he wanted to name our daughter after her. She just kind of looked at me for a second. Then she told me they had been engaged. Ooh, ooh, yeah, no, that's something that he should have told you before you even. Ooh, okay. The more we talked, the more names came up. His parents knew, his brother knew, and one of his old roommates knew because they'd lived together at the time. Funny enough, it was the same friend who had asked at our baby shower. No one had told me anything. Oh, so everybody is the a-hole. This isn't even am I the a-hole, but like, I guess not bringing it up as like the family is fine, because like it's not really like that's a conversation the husband and wife need to have. But if she specifically asks you, I get that it's like bro code, but you should just be like, "Oh, that's a conversation you and him need to have. It's not my place." Not, "Oh, I don't know who you're talking about," and just straight gaslighting her. That's insane. Apparently, most people just knew he'd been dating someone who got sick. His mom told me Claire was diagnosed with an aggressive form of cancer not long after they started dating. Things moved fast after that because they knew they probably didn't have years together, so he proposed. She died not long after. She also told me she'd assumed I'd known about it for all of these years. Oh, like, that's really, really sad and hard to go through, and I do feel bad for him having to go through that at a young age, and obviously, I feel horrible for Claire. That's horrific. Um, but 2 things can be true. He shouldn't have lied about it or, like, not given that information when talking about it with his wife. And yeah, like it could also be a horrible thing he went through. When we got engaged, she thought he'd already told me. Same thing when we got married. Same thing when I got pregnant. I called BS, but maybe I'm just looking to point fingers. Again, like, I don't necessarily think it's their place to tell you, but if you ask, they should have said, "Oh, that's a conversation you need to have with him." Like, they could still, like, have said more than they did, because it's, like, between you and him, but were there times where it coulda come up? Like, have you asked the mother-in-law, like, what about his exit or things like that? Like, silly little conversations like that, like, "What should I know?" I don't know, like, maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, feel free to comment down below if you can and tell me. As long as you are kind and respectful, I am open to the debates. I love having debates about these kinds of things because I feel like we can all learn a lot and see things through other people's point of view. But I don't know. I feel like it's not really the family's responsibility unless they were outright asked. But at the same time, were there conversations where they could have said something and didn't that we just don't know about? I don't know. Let's keep reading. I drove home after that and just waited for him to get back from work because there wasn't any chance I was going to act like everything was normal. I confronted him that night and it went awful. Truly, he acted like an entirely different person. At first, he wanted to know why I'd gone to his mom. Then it became that I had no right to dig into his past. Then it became that Claire had nothing to do with our marriage. Then it was that I had betrayed his trust by involving his family. It just kept changing. Oh no. I'd answer one thing and we'd somehow end up arguing about something else. I asked him when he planned on telling me he'd been engaged because we'd already been together for over 5 years, married for 2, and now we had a daughter. He said he always meant to tell me, but he didn't. He never effing told me. I'm so angry at how selfish it was. Whoa, so when was he going to tell you? Your daughter's 16th birthday? When you were old? And like he was just like, oh, by the way, like your entire life? Like he had 5 years to tell you and he didn't. And again, like it's a hard thing. I could see waiting until he knew you were the one or whatever, but having the conversation about having multiple conversations about naming your daughter after this person and not once even giving you like the full context of who that person was to him is wrong. I'm sorry, like it is. He can't say, "Oh, I was going to tell you." He should have. Point blank. The conversations have already happened. He can't be like, "Oh, well, I was gonna go back in time and tell you." Like, no, he was fully prepared to not tell you and name your daughter after this person. I packed a bag that night and went to my sister's house with the baby. Before people assume we're getting divorced, that's not where I left. I still love this man and we have a child together. I couldn't imagine raising her split in 2 households. I left because we were both angry and I could tell the argument wasn't going anywhere. My sister's been helping with the baby. Yesterday, she realized I hadn't eaten since breakfast and practically shoved a sandwich into my hands because I completely forgotten. This whole thing has been exhausting and I haven't slept at all. A few people asked about the birth certificate. The hospital told us we had time to finish the paperwork after we left, so we weren't forced to pick a name before going home. We obviously aren't going to leave it forever. Right now, neither of us are in any position to make that decision. My sister started calling her Ellie because she said she felt weird saying the baby all the time. And somewhere over the last day, I've started doing it too. I don't know if that's going to end up being her name, but it's the working filler while the crap storm is ongoing. Is Ellie what you wanted to name her? Did I miss that? Or did the sister just name the baby whatever she saw fit? Not that it's a bad thing. I get it. I wouldn't be able to just keep saying the baby. So I get having a filler, but where did Ellie come from? My husband has been calling and texting since I left. He wants to see our daughter, and we've made that happen because none of this has anything to do with her. Whatever is going on between us, she's still his daughter and he loves her. I don't want people getting the idea that I'm trying to keep her away from him because I'm not. I've seen a lot of comments saying the real issue is that he loved someone before me. It really isn't. If he told me about Claire years ago, I don't think we'd be here. I would have felt awful for him. I probably would have cried hearing what happened, but I wouldn't have held it against him. Yeah, I fully think it's the dishonesty. Some people can't be with someone who lost someone like this because they personally feel like they're competing with a ghost. And I can understand that I don't know how I would feel because I've never been in this situation, so I'm not going to say one way or the other because I've never been in that position. I think it's easy to say one thing all day, but until you've experienced it, you can't really fully like say you wouldn't react a certain way. But at the same time, I don't think that's the issue. I genuinely think it's the dishonesty because, like, omitting information, in my opinion, is dishonest. What really hurts is the lies and the manipulation. But then again, can you even call it lying? It's not like I ever asked him, "Oh, were you married before?" Because who asked that? Instead, I found out because he wanted our daughter to have her name. And then I found out from his mother that she'd been his fiance. That's the part I can't look past. I agree. I looked back on my other post and it feels like it was written by someone else. 2 days ago, I thought we were arguing about a name. God, I was so naive. I suppose question has turned into would I be overreacting to leave him over this? I'm certainly mad, but I don't think we're to that point yet. And I don't want that for my baby either. Anyway, that's where things are. Thank you all so much for the support. This has really been a great place to be able to vet and get advice. A very special thanks to all those who've helped me realize I wasn't crazy. In my opinion, I don't know if it's to the point where I would leave him yet. I think that he should go to therapy for the trauma of this woman. Whether he's over it or not, I'm not the one to say that. But clearly, like, she had an impact on him enough that he wants to name his child after her. He was engaged to her. I think everyone should go to therapy, and whether he's over it or not, I think that it would be really helpful for him, especially if he's lying, to find better ways to go about this. Like, he could have genuinely made a plan with a therapist about how to go about it and avoided this whole thing because no one's going to co-sign on lying to your wife. I do also think that they would really benefit from couples therapy because I just don't think that it's going to be easy to navigate this without having like another person to help them navigate it that she trusts, because I don't know if she could trust the family after this. And I don't know, it's just everybody's bias. So I think that couples therapy, he needs therapy. She would probably benefit from some therapy as well. Let's be honest. Everybody to therapy. Everybody go. But you are not overreacting, in my opinion. And I think that you handled this with a very level headed approach, which is hard to do, especially when you just had a baby. Like, girl, I know your hormones are going crazy. So, yeah, you underreacted, in my opinion. But let's read the top comment on Best Redditor, and that one is in quotations. "Oh, hey, honey. I'm just going to keep this up until I wear you down until you agree to it. See how well it worked on my mom and everyone else?" And someone responded to that and said, "Exactly." And then they quoted the paragraph that says, like, every few weeks he'd bring the name up. Sometimes when we were already talking by the end of it, I was tired of having the same conversation. And they said, "This whole paragraph shows that he doesn't respect her opinion and thinks he can just wear her down until he gets his way." Which I agree. Like, I think that he didn't wanna tell her for whatever reason, and he was just, like, trying the same tactic of, "I'm just gonna wear her down till I get what I want," and he would've been much better off to just have clear communication and approach it like an adult who mutually respects their partner. Like, there needs to be mutual respect there between the 2 of them. Okay, I don't know. I definitely wanna know your opinion. Am I right? Am I wrong? Hot take? Good take? What do we think? Before I jump into the next story, don't forget to like, comment, follow, subscribe, all the terms on whatever platform you're currently listening or watching on, as well as if you're watching on YouTube on mobile and it's within the first week of this being posted, don't forget to hype. We are a really, really small channel and it shows us to more people so that we can continue to grow because those people probably wouldn't see us otherwise. But let's jump on into the next story. Am I overreacting? I contacted the woman in my husband's phone. T. Hi everyone. I, 24 female, recently discovered a suspicious contact in my husband's 23 male phone and decided to contact her. This is a bit of a story, so bear with me. It started a few months ago, the shady phone business. Lock screening when I'm around, not allowing me on it anymore. You get the gist. About a month ago, we were running errands in a different town, and because we were nearby, we decided to pop by his grandparents' house for a visit. He called a contact named Grandma, and a different woman picked up. At first, I would have assumed a potential PSW or some sort of helper, despite them having no present issues. However, my husband reacted very weird and shocked and ended the call immediately without responding to the woman. All she did was say hello. That's suspicious. That's weird. Also, we have hit the point in the video where Bourbon is with us because he's in air jail for harassing Braxton, who was just trying to live his best life. So, everybody welcome Bourbon to the stage. Then he got weird with me, asking me, "Who the heck is that?" and saying, "That was so weird. I have no idea who that was." I shrugged it off, making a mental note to check it out later on, but not to ruin the day we were having. I searched his messages and I didn't find anything. I didn't dig far though. I mean, I think that any person with like a brain, not to be mean, would probably delete the evidence because they would think that that was suspicious. Like they would assume that you're probably going to try and look through things and definitely delete the evidence to be safe. I feel like. Am I wrong? I don't know. Yesterday we were traveling. He asked me for GPS directions on his phone. I saw that same contact and is recently searched, like in that taskbar search on an iPhone that automatically brings up an app or contact. I inquired, asking if he figured out who that contact was. He said no. I then questioned, why does it show you contacted them recently? Ooh. And he freaked out on me, like he actually lost it. He was yelling, demanding that I show him where it says that, insisting that he hadn't. His defensiveness is a huge red flag to me. I agree. Like, if he didn't know who this was, I don't think he'd be defensive. I think he'd be like confused. Like, just as confused as you are. Like, dude, I have no idea who that is. What is going on? maybe like my grandma got a new phone number and this was her old one and like someone else. I don't know. There's a lot of explanations and he's not searching for any of them. He just immediately went on the defense, which is crazy. I asked him, so when we get to X place, you're okay with me calling that contact? He got even more mad, but agreed nonetheless. When we arrived, I phoned the number off his phone and it rung until voicemail. What struck me was that there was no voicemail intro, no identifier, just the immediate beep to leave a message. I called the number this morning off of my own phone and she picked up. She refused to give her name even after I explained the situation that I found her contact in my husband's phone. She insists that she's been married for 20 years and has never met my husband. However, like I said, she was really rude and wouldn't even introduce herself after I spoke. It was super brief, a 5-minute call. She hung up on me after I apologized for calling. I found this really off putting for them both to respond with aggressive defense. I tried reasoning by thinking maybe hubby typed his grandma's number wrong, maybe it's only one digit off. But then I'm thinking that I've witnessed him contact her before, so where did the old contact go? I'm thinking of going through the phone deeper, but I'm worried that I may be overreacting. Girly, this is where women try to make excuses that just don't make sense. Like, girl, if it was one digit off, why would it be saved in his phone as like the contact? Like, he would have fixed it when he realized it and not kept it as the contact. I don't know. We're making up excuses for this man that we shouldn't be, is what I'm saying. Like, girly, I love that you're giving the benefit of the doubt. I love that. But maybe we should just be a little bit more suspicious. Maybe I'm jaded. I don't know. There is an edit slash update on here before the big update. Let's read it. Thank you for all of your responses. I'm on board here and we'll be digging deeper into this. If this turns out the way we suspect, I will be leaving him. I've managed to find out that she lives in my town. That's all so far. I've checked out most slash all of the sites recommended. Unfortunately, they're all USA ones, and I'm in Canada. I will still be checking other options out, and I'm still taking all of your ideas and advice. I ended up confirming his actual grandmother's phone number, which is completely different from the one at hand, eliminating the accidental misinput idea. He knows that I'm investigating this further, but I don't intend on telling him anything going forward. All right. We are going to go ahead and jump into the update, but all of these will be linked down below if you want to read all the comments and such, because they're tea, you know? We just don't have a ton of time to read every single comment. My last update got removed, my bad, so hopefully this one manages. I'll keep it short and I'll try to keep it in my overreacting too. Firstly, I wanted to thank everyone for the support and clarity I needed. Your advice, support, and suggestions went a long way. I can't thank you enough. Please know each of you individually helped a lot. Before we jump in, I do want to actually say, like, make a judgment on the am I overreacting based on the first one, and then we'll see if in my opinion, it still stands after the update, but I think it will. You are underreacting yet again. Um, I would go scorched earth, and I think that you are trying to give him the benefit of the doubt because he is your husband, and I love that about you, bestie. You are so kind and respectful, and I get it. Like this is your man forever and ever, or is supposed to be. But girl, I would be asking some serious questions. I would be doing a full-on interrogation. I'd get out the gavel so that you can be the judge. Like, I would not have been this calm. So, good for you, but you need to overreact a little bit more. Like, I would prefer overreaction versus under. I traced that number to a burner phone in my town. There's absolutely nothing else attached to the phone number. That being said, I decided not to dig further into this woman. Thank you to everyone who gave suggestions on how to do this, and also to everyone who offered help. She just isn't my business any further than this. Now, I didn't discover if he'd been seeing her, but this did lead me to investigate further after talking with him. I first asked him to be open and transparent if he's doing anything behind my back. He denied and promised me he isn't. I went through his phone, finally. For everyone who misread my last post, this is the first time I snooped without his presence or permission. I can barely believe it, but I found multiple other women and multiple website logins. I'll keep that brief so my post isn't removed. Oh boy. I'm heartbroken. I'm destroyed. I confronted him and he denied it. When I showed proof, he broke and admitted this had all been going on for 2 years. 2 years. I'm still not sure what my next step is, but I had a calm talk with him expressing that this could not be repaired and that I'm done. He's sleeping on the couch. Would it be dramatic slash overreacting to straight up ask him to leave for a bit? Like spend a night or two with his friends or side chicks? I need to pack my things and clear my head. Additionally, I'm the caretaker of the house and animals, and he has the car, so this makes more sense than me leaving for a bit. I need to pack my things. I'm already speaking with my lawyer. My new slash second question is, would I be overreacting to completely lose my mind about this? I'm trying so hard to stay composed. What is a reasonable crash out level here? As I said previously, I would go full scorched earth. I appreciate your self-restraint to not go into the women further. I agree, like, it is not her that you should be attacking or going after. I get where you're saying it's none of your business, but, like, if she is married, wouldn't you want the husband to know? Like, I feel like you do have some sort of moral responsibility to let the husband know. Um, but you have all the proof you need, so I understand where you're coming from. You're dealing with your own things. So at the end of the day, like, you too are the victim, and it's not your responsibility to tell the husband when it is her responsibility and she's failing to do so. I just feel like there is a bit of a moral obligation to help him out. You know? Am I wrong? I can see both sides of wanting to and not wanting to. If you're listening to this right now and you're screaming at me one way or another, tell me your opinion. Comment down below. Because, like, again, I could see both sides. But the top comment is wait until after you talk to a lawyer to decide what your crash out options are. Agree. I agree. It's not worth it in the long run to do anything like destruction of property because it could really influence the divorce settlement. That being said, while breaking this kind of news to friends and family is an absolute awful part of this process, you might want to start on that before he gets his version of the story out. He obviously has no problem lying, so don't let him play the victim before you get a chance to tell the truth. I'm so sorry you're dealing with this, and good luck. I agree. Like, and no harm, no foul. If what you're telling all of your friends and family is the truth, like, it's not like he can sue you for defamation. So I would as well as lean on them as support because you need support right now. But everybody's agreeing to talk to a lawyer before crashing out. However, I don't think you're overreacting. I think that you're underreacting, and it is fully within your rights to overreact. So be smart about it. Get a lawyer. This was posted July 26, 2026, and then the update is from July 30th. So this is still technically ongoing. I wish you the best, though, and I hope that you were able to get the help and support and love that you need. All right. Those ended up taking longer than I thought they were. So we're gonna end it here because the next one is really, really long. And I don't know. Do you guys want to hear this? Here, let me read the title. And then if you guys want to hear it, I'll post it in the next episode. Yeah. So the next one is, am I overreacting that my boyfriend is hanging out alone with a girl that likes him? Hmm. Shall we react to that one on the channel? What do you think? If you think we should, definitely let me know. Either comment down below, DM me on Instagram, send a pigeon, whatever you're thinking. And I will see it. And if you guys want, I will react to it on the next one and we will have a fun little debate about it. But that is pretty much it. Thank you guys so, 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 so much for watching, listening, being around. Don't forget to sign the petition. You guys mean the absolute world to me. I was going to be back in my podcast studio filming. Fun story. I actually filmed a episode for Friday in the studio and it just did not come out well. We had so many technical difficulties, so I didn't end up posting it on Friday, but that is my long-term goal to post more times a week. Um, but yeah, I ended up throwing my back out. Like, shout out to pain medication because that's the only reason I'm filming right now. But because of that, I wasn't able to film in the studio because it's just there's a lot going into it that I'm not really going to go into because you guys don't care. But I did try. So I feel like you guys should know that. The goal is to be back in there soon and start uploading on Fridays soon so that we'd be up to 3 episodes a week. But I can't give you a full date on that. Um, that is it though. I do have my Burby boy still with me. He was just in my lap napping, but he loves you guys, and so do I, and we really appreciate you tuning in. The fun part about filming down here instead of in the studio is that Bourbon gets to join. But yeah, we love you guys so, so much. Let me know what types of stories you want to hear more of. Right now, I'm just going off of analytics and whatever is getting the most like views and stuff. But if there's something specific you guys want to hear more about, mother-in-laws, weddings, overreactions, petty revenge, reviews, whatever it is, definitely let me know so I can be sure to include that in the rotation. But that is pretty much it. I will catch you guys on Wednesday with a whole new podcast episode. I love you guys so, so much. And that is all. Bye, guys. Say bye. Love you.